Hello again, Professional Women's Wellness here, our podcast. And today I have an amazing, incredible guest who is all about breaking free from self-sabotage and stepping into a life of clarity. And, she really works with people to give them confidence and inner peace. And I love her work because I've gotten to know her. I've been blessed to be introduced to her a couple of years ago, and truly lovely, authentic person. So Claudia Braa is a positive intelligence and mindset coach who specializes in helping people identify and release fear-based patterns that no longer serve them. Through mindfulness, mental fitness, and self-command strategies, she empowers individuals to move beyond stress, beyond overwhelm, and beyond self-doubt, creating a life of freedom and balance. With a background in holistic health and integrative nutrition, and transformational coaching, she does a lot of stuff, right? Claudia combines deep mindset work with practical strategies to help her clients reclaim their personal power. If you've ever felt stuck in old habits, struggled with self-sabotage, or wanted to break free from limiting beliefs, this conversation is for you. Claudia, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, Peggy, thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you so much for having me. I am delighted to be on your show and have a conversation with you.
Great. Well, I always get curious when I have guests to find out, how did they get where they are now? What's their story? Because we all have a story, and sometimes we change careers or we stick with the same one, and it morphs into something else, right?
Yeah. Well, I would agree. I love people's stories as well. So my story is that, years ago, I went to social work school and did not want to be a social worker. And I had, along that time when I was in the process of leaving social work school, somebody introduced me to something called shiatsu, which is a Japanese massage. It's a combination of acupressure and stretching, and it's based on the body's energetic system. And the core belief is the body always wants to be in a state of health. Mm-hmm. And that really spoke to me. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to study and I'm going to do this. So I went to shiatsu school. I became a shiatsu practitioner, and I did that for a number of years. And while I was doing this work, I would tell my clients the way to make your sessions last is to do yoga. And I thought, you know what? I should teach yoga. I've been doing yoga for my 20s. I'm going to teach yoga. So I became a yoga instructor. I actually opened a yoga studio. And I did shiatsu. I taught yoga. And then somebody introduced me to coaching. And I thought, oh my gosh, coaching is what I wanted to do in social work school, but didn't know existed, because kind of social work I was going to just was very cerebral, and I didn't think people were going to really get better in that approach. So coaching, I've been coaching for the last 13 years, and it's really allowed me to put together all the things that I was learning over the years and be able to make a difference for people. So that has been my circuitous path, I would say. But I wouldn't change any of it now at this point.
Oh, what a wonderful journey. Mm-hmm. I mean, all the things that people like us love, like meditation, yoga, all those things, yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And most of my listeners will understand that, which is so cool. So tell me, what type of clients do you normally attract?
Well, great question. I attract women who tend to be very good achievers. They get a lot done. They are really good at taking care of their family. They're really good at the success in their business. They're very good at giving to their community. But they're not as great at giving to themselves. And they end up feeling a little burned out. They end up feeling exhausted. They end up feeling a bit scattered, and overwhelmed. I'll tell you, on Wednesday I was at an event. This woman heard me talk, and she said, "Oh my gosh, I need to talk to you." She said, "My 6-year-old is telling me what to do because I can't hold it all together. So I've missed days he's supposed to go to school or not supposed to go to school. and I'm popping ibuprofen because of my stress headache. Busy attorney, 3 kids, holding a lot. And she is the one who's really fallen through the cracks. So those are my people.
And there are so many women in that position. Every time you turn around, it's almost like the majority of women have been busy taking care of other responsibilities, whether it be their job, their family, their church commitments, whatever it is. And I've noticed also that people do not understand what self-care is. They think self-care, that's selfish. No, it's not.
Exactly. And I always say to people that it's actually the opposite. Self-care is the most unselfish thing you can do, because if you don't take care of yourself, inevitably somebody else has to take care of you because you haven't. And eventually things break down from it's like a car. You don't get an oil change. You don't get your car repaired. It breaks down. That's how it goes.
True.
You run out of gas, right?
What do you find any similarities in some of the stories of the women that is it primarily women?
Yeah, primarily women.
Okay.
And I always liken it to say is that women are usually the women who are willing to do the work, because, you can't stay the same and get change. And many times my experience is that, women, I've worked with men, and, I love men. I have nothing against them. But when it comes in my experience and the kind of coaching that I do, I ask people to really look at themselves, and they're not to change everything at once, because that is not something that's sustainable. But it's a willingness to really go deep into themselves to be able to make the changes that will actually change their life. And that's really my passion.
And I agree with you, because I only work with women also. And I have worked with men, but I found the same thing. It's hard to go deep. Do you find some of the circumstances similar, like you said high achievers? Is there a particular category? Are they executives? Are they nurses? Is there any similarities of the ones that come to you?
I would say, I really across the board. I have people who are in marketing. I have women who are working in the hotel industry. I have women who are in real estate. I have women who are attorneys. I have women who are stay-at-home moms. I have to say it crosses the gamut. And I say it also crosses the age barrier. I've worked with women in their 20s. I've worked with people in their 70s. Because I always say with my clients is that it's programming. The program has been put in there a long time ago. And that's really the work that I do with my clients. And it is easier for a younger person to change. And it is because the programming has not been as long. My experience is that when people are a bit older, there's a little bit more, what I've noticed is a little bit more resistance, and a little bit, it's just been longer habits. That's all. But it doesn't mean they don't change. Like I said, I have clients in their 70s I had a client in her 70s, an accountant, really smart, lovely lady, and a really marriage situation, not so great, and a childhood history, not so great. And through the work we did, she cleared a lot of that story, a lot of the patterning, a lot of the trauma that was keeping her repeating patterns. So that's, to me, the cool thing is that it really doesn't matter what the age is or what the work is. It's just somebody's in their life, they're realizing what I'm doing is not I don't feel at peace. I don't feel happy. I don't know how to change, and I feel overwhelmed by all the things that are going on. I'd say that's the overriding theme.
Yeah, I can understand that, because now today with technology, it's gotten even harder, because we're putting more and more and more into our brains and not keeping life simple. And so I can understand that. do you find with women that come to you, do they have a lot of relationships? Do you find more people that are single, or I'm just kind of curious as to
I would say that
some patterns.
most of the people that I work with tend to be partnered.
Hmm.
And I say right now it's half 50-50. Half of them are partnered, half of them aren't. But over the years, I'd say more partnered people.
Hmm.
Um, but I would say that, women who are good caretakers, they tend to be partnered. But even if they're not partnered, they're so good at caring for people that whether it's
Yeah,
their friends that they take on as family, it doesn't really matter. I have to say, it doesn't really
yeah.
matter.
I was just kind of curious as to the demographics and things. Um, what are some of the top things that you, as far as modalities, and I know you dig deep into their past, correct? To kind of dig up what's causing the current problems?
Interestingly enough, well, I would say that, yes and no. Like I was telling about my client who's in her 70s. The difference between, like, sometimes people are confused. Well, what's the difference between coaching and therapy? So the difference is that in therapy, having been on both sides, having gone to social work school and having had my own experience in it as a client, is that you're more in the story. And that is not my work. I'm not hanging out in the story with my clients. Um, the story only comes in if it's in their way. And it's keeping them in a pattern that they're creating, that they keep creating. And so my work with my clients is to help them clear the pattern so it's no longer in their way, so that they are free to create a future unlike their past. That's what I'm passionate about, because to be honest, that was my frustration being in social work school. I just thought people having going over and over and over in their story is not going to help them feel better. And the work I do with my clients is really about looking what that story has created in their current life, how it's keeping them stuck, how it's keeping them creating situations very much the same, and and then through practices and tools, we can change that so they don't have to keep creating it, and they don't have to keep feeling the burden and the heaviness of their past. So that's what I am passionate about.
But it's exactly what I was kind of going for.
Mm.
Our present is dictated by our past very often. And sometimes you do see those patterns, and they are difficult to break. Those neural pathways are really deep now. They're little memories. Yeah, that's great. What other modalities, like exercises and things, do you do with people, or do you?
Exercises. Tell me what you mean
Like,
exactly.
coaching is coaching. You're with with the client. Do you find when the work gets done when it's between the appointments, right?
Okay, so that's a really great question. So the work gets done, I'd say, in twofold, right? Because we're doing work in the session where
Mm-hmm.
they're clearing patterns. And then in between sessions, I work with an app that gives them daily focuses, and also daily tools to help them stay out of that mind that wants to sabotage us. Because we all have, the research has shown that we all sabotage ourselves. It's just a question of to what degree and in what areas. And so what the app does is that it gives them daily focuses for them to keep their attention on what they're actually moving towards, their higher self or sage self or wide self, whichever you want to call it, that is not sabotaging their success. And success being in our communication with each other, communication with themselves. Okay, so like, for example, we all have a judge within us, and the judge will either like say, "Oh my God, you're such an idiot. Why did you say that? You shouldn't have said that." Or, "You shouldn't have said that to her. Why did she say that?" Or, "This circumstance shouldn't be like this. I shouldn't have to go through that." Any one of those is a judgment, difference between judgment and discernment. And so if we're running our day on any one of those tracks, we're exhausted, we're worn out, and we feel defeated. And so what my work is my clients and I work on that during the sessions. And in between, they get reminders and they get focuses to keep their mind on their more higher self and to dissipate that voice of the judge that undermines our success. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. I love it. And the fact that you provide them with an app.
Yeah.
Wow. Now that's an exercise. That's awesome. Talk about accountability.
Okay, I love that.
Accountability. Open that phone.
Exactly. And I mean, in this place and time, most everybody walks around with a phone. And so I'm like, using it you can use it for good or you can use it for evil. You decide. And this is one way we can use it for good.
Oh, I think that is absolutely awesome. That's great. Now, tell me do you have groups?
I run groups and I also do one-to-one. So the nice thing about the group is people have another form of accountability, and they're also getting to see how other people's judges show up. And yes, it's a great way to expand. And then I do the same work one-to-one where they're getting the access to the app and they're also becoming aware of their judge, how to minimize it and how to take their mind into a stronger way so they can really have the kind of success that they want. And success, sometimes people think success is just in their business, but it's really success with themselves. Because how we show up with ourselves is going to reflect in all other areas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I noticed you have dabbled a little bit with essential oils. Do you still do that for your clients?
It is definitely a hobby of mine. I have essential oils all over my house. Anyone that knows me is like, oh, Claudia, they smell me coming.
That's great.
Yeah. I absolutely love essential oils. I've been using them. Well, I did shiatsu for a long time. So I used oils in my practice, and then I owned a yoga studio, and a friend of mine introduced me to a line of oils, which I use now, which I adore. And I've used since 2002, I guess 2002. So that's several years, right? I am very passionate about using oils for just about everything. So yeah.
I was wondering, since there's so many different uses for oils, and when you're well educated as you are, you can easily recommend something. If somebody says, I can't sleep at night,
Oh, yes.
Because people that are stressed out or overwhelmed, they don't know what you should use, what you can use, what will be effective. And I think it's wonderful modality right there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I had a dog who was really, really sick, and I used oils on my dog. I always called him my guinea pig, but he always got better. He had a lot of anxiety, and I'd use the oils for him, and I use oils for absolutely everything. It's a huge passion of mine.
Oh, that's terrific, terrific. So, what are you working on now as far as sharing with our audience? Is there something you'd like to share with them?
Yeah. So I would love to offer you, I have something called Say Yes to You. And it is 3 strategies to really own your yes. Because I find that so often it's a real challenge for women to own their yes to themselves. And you can, it's a free download that I'd be happy to share.
Wonderful. Yes, we will make sure for certain that the link will be in the
Wonderful.
notes below. Oh, that's wonderful. I love it.
Oh, yeah. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Yeah, it's a really nice way to just do a little bit of self-connection. I give you some tools and strategies. It's a really easy way to start to see yourself in a different way. And it's a way to begin the path.
This is so nice, Claudia. I am so grateful for your time to be here to speak with our audience. And we will be sure to, let everybody know this is the one to watch. Okay.
Oh, Peggy, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for the interview. Thank you for your generosity and support of my work. It means a lot to me.
Oh, it means a lot to me to be in the pit with you, trying to help all these women.
Yeah.
We got to stick together, right?
Indeed. Indeed. Yeah. Yeah. It's, we're here to make a difference in the world, and I'm glad for that.
What if food wasn't the enemy, but just a messenger? You're not weak or broken. You have just been coping with emotions the only way you knew, through food. Stress eating after work, sugar cravings when exhausted, guilt after giving in again. Well, when you pause, breathe, and tune in, you shift from survival to self-awareness. You eat with intention, not impulse. You feel back in control. Healing starts with one mindful step, and I want to offer you a free access to my exclusive programs inside my school community. A supportive space created specifically for professional women just like you, who are tired of the guilt, confusion, and the all-or-nothing approaches to food and body confidence. And here's what you'll find inside. Courses that help you understand patterns and break free from emotional eating, and finally feel in control without dieting or calorie counting. Live group coaching and office hours to get direct support and personalized feedback from me. You'll also see workshops, challenges, and bonus resources on sleep, stress, mindful eating, metabolism, and more. A private community where women who truly get it, no judgment, just support. If you want to open your eyes to freedom from food, let this be the first step that opens the door. Let's work together and create a lasting peace with food and your body. All you have to do is join my Stop Emotional Eating School group by clicking the link below, where women are ditching guilt and reclaiming food freedom. Make peace with your plate today. Just click on the link, or it's professionalwomanswellness.com. I'll see you at the other side.